Welcome to today's program, The Beauty of Grace, and I'm Pastor Pete Norris, Harvest Fellowship Church, Goldsboro, North Carolina. We've been talking this week about letting go of the past, letting go of that garbage that you've been dealing with most of your life. You know, none of us had perfect homes growing up. None of us grew up in perfect situations. As good as our parents may have been or wanted to be, they made some mistakes along the way. Teachers made some comments to you. People made comments to you. Or maybe you were born with some kind of issue that made you look different or act different or whatever it may be. And those complexes, if you're not careful, they stay with you most of your life. But John 5:6 says, when Jesus saw him lying there and learned that he had been in this condition for a long time, he asked him, do you want to get well? Well, friend, I'm asking you today, maybe you have bitterness and unforgiveness and anger. You know, today can be a changing point and a turning point in your life. Today can be the day that you decide, you know what, I've been angry long enough, I've been bitter long enough, I've been crippled long enough, I've been in strife long enough, I'm coming up out of this situation today. You know, there was a man in Jerusalem who had been crippled for 38 years. He spent every day of his life lying by the pool of Bethesda, hoping for a miracle. Now you can find this story in the book of John 5. This man had been deep-seated, lingering disorder similar to what many people have today. The calamities may have not been physical, they may have been emotional, but they are deep-seated, lingering disorders nevertheless. How many of us are dealing with some things in our life, maybe the way that we were talked to, or maybe you didn't have physical abusive parents, but you may have a parent that was verbally abusive. Maybe he called you or said things about you or spoke things over you that you didn't really want to have spoken over you, but they spoke them over you anyway. You know, they may stem from unforgiveness or holding on to past resentments. You know, things that were said to us, things that was said about us and those kind of things, they can affect your personality, your relationships, and even your self-image. You've got to learn to rise above your self-images. You got to rise above your relationships and your circumstances. Listen, people are going to disappoint you. They cannot help it because, listen, hurt people. And so we got to understand that as you're going through life, if you've married a young lady or a young man and they've been in an abusive home or verbally abusive home, then that's the only way they're going to know to respond without the work of the Holy Spirit taking operation and overreach in our lives. In other words, just as the man lying by the pool, some people sit back for years waiting for a miracle to happen that will never make anything any better. And so as you sit back, you got to be willing to say, hey, look, I've been like this long enough. I've been sick and tired long enough. I've been discouraged long enough. I've been frustrated long enough. When Jesus saw the man lying there, he simply asked a straightforward question. Do you want to be made healed? In other words, he wanted to know if the guy wanted to be healed or had the guy adapted to that situation so much he actually liked it. You ever been around people, all they talk about is negative? If they didn't even have something negative to talk about, they wouldn't even have anything to talk about. The man's response was interesting. He began listing all of his excuses. I'm all alone. I don't have anyone to help me. Is it any wonder that he had not been healed? Friend, what excuses are you making not to come out of your situation? What excuses are you making not to deal with that hurt and that pain, or maybe that broken marriage, that divorce that you went through, that your husband or wife in the second marriage is paying for what you went through in your first marriage? So you got all these walls built up. You got all these things built up in your life, all these defense mechanisms. Jesus looked at him and said, in effect, if you are serious about getting well, if you want to get out of this mess, get up off the ground, take up your bed, and be on your way. Friend, he was telling him what to do to make this change. But if you lay there in that and wallow in that mess over and over and over and over and over, then you're never going to come out of that situation. When the man did what Jesus told him to do, he was miraculously healed. Why? Because today, all you need today is one word to change your situation, to change your circumstances, to change the concept and the idea of what you're dealing with in your life. If you're serious about being well, you can can't lie around feeling sorry for yourself. Now, friend, I know all about depression. I know all about how difficult it can be when we fall into that state of depression. Stop making excuses. Trust God. Get up. Step into the great future that God has for you, because God's got a great future for you, but you've got to be willing to step out of the box, step out of the excuses, stop making excuses for why you are like you are. Well, that's just the way my family was. That's just the way I was born. That's just who I am. Friend, you are the righteousness of God. You're a new creation, and old things have passed away, and behold, all things have become new. So if you want to come out of your past, then step up to your future. You got to be one to make decisions. God's not going to do that for you. He's done everything for you, and He wants you to walk in that favor. He wants you to walk in that blessing. He wants you to walk in that dimension. You've got to trust Him. That's the beauty of grace.